You're welcome back. Now let's turn to other issues. The previous administration came up with the Almajiri project in order to improve not just their well-being, but education pursuit as well. It is said that about 10.5 million Nigerians are out of school, and a greater percentage is in the north. Organizations and institutions like the American University of Nigeria has been on the front burner of the Almajiri school project. To talk more on this study on the impact of Almajiri on the economy and educational development of Adamawa State using system dynamics is Joseph Almajiri, coordinator Poverty Stoplight at Atiku Center. A very good morning to you, Almajiri.
Good morning.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
The same to you. Good to see you.
It's a big pleasure to have you in the studio.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I must congratulate you for that lovely project you started in the American University, centered on improving the lives of the Almajiri's children, particularly
the school feeding.
The feed and read.
Feed and read. A very interesting project. Yeah. Let's just begin with. Can you give us an update? How's the project going on?
Well, the project is fantastic. It's moving on well. A lot of children are graduating and they are integrating from not going to formal education to formal education right now. And we have a lot of them in formal education right now, going to school and are ready to, be something in their, be better in their society also.
Now, would this be part of the reason why you had to, say, I want to make a study on this, aspect of people in the society and see how best we can be able to handle their problem?
Yes, that's what actually, the main purpose for this research, because it's a research that it was not done by only me, it was done by a lot of faculty members. We came together to prove this. I've noticed that our Almajiri system is a multi-dimensional dynamic system, that a lot of time when you try to intervene, you're thinking you're trying to help, but you're creating more problem in the society. So that is the reason why we came up with, we are using system dynamics, because system dynamics allow you to see a system from a holistic point of view. And when you see those systems, you'll be able to find a leverage point. What is the root cause of Almajiri? What is the problem? And how best can we intervene to make sure that the escalating numbers of Almajiri begin to reduce?
Because what's the dynamics in the system?
Well,
because that's what we need to come to terms with. We need to understand: is it a system that allows for a lot of flexibility, allows for a lot of options for you to look into why you're trying to study this issue of Almajiri problem in this country?
Well, the dynamics part of it is that you're trying to solve it, but you're creating other problems indirectly. It's just, have you heard about an ice in a bag? You came and you saw an ice and you try to chop it off, and you don't know that it has a lot of problem under it. A lot of things that happen in the society, people actually react to events, but they don't know the root cause of those events. You see Fulani S-men doing a lot of things, but what is the root cause? There should have been a reason why someone will not just wake up in the morning and go and kill people. There would have been a reason why a lot of things has happened, and that's the reason why I came up with this. Number one, I want to say here, do you know that the total number of Almajiri in the northern part of Nigeria is almost 10 million Almajiri? I'm talking about children between the age of 5 to 18. And these are children. When I say Almajiri, I want to be clear on this.
Sure.
Almajiri that I am specifying on this research is children that are vulnerable, that are asking for harms on the street, and they are going to Quranic school. The Quranic school itself is even, to be specific, Sangaya, not Islamia.
Not Islamia.
Yeah, because there are two different. So it's schools. Children that are, that are going on the street, begging for harms, and they are vulnerable, and they are going to Sangaya. So these are the children I am talking about. The total number of Almajiri in the northern part of Nigeria is more than the total population of 147 countries out of 233 countries in the world.
Just Almajiri?
In Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria. A country like Sweden has almost like 9 million.
9 million, yeah.
A country like Singapore has almost like 6 million. So the total number of Almajiri is more than that in Nigeria. And the number keeps escalating. So how can we make this number that is escalating to reduce? What are the things that we can do? And that's the reason why we bring this system dynamics.
So from your findings, what really is responsible for the high number?
Beautiful. For me to be able to say this, we were able to come up with a lot of systems. Everything you do in this life, do you know it actually produces a particular number? If you kill someone, you had the number of death rate, the number of crime rate, Then if they take you to court, number of cases in the court. Everything we do in this life produces number.
It has incremental value.
Yeah, guy. So how does this number interact with themselves, and how does those interactions produce results that we can actually predict the future? Because this system we are using, we can actually tell that in the next 40 years, this is likely what might happen. In the next few years, if something is done, this is what will happen. We have in this system, I don't know if you can.
Yeah, we can see a semblance of that.
Beautiful. So I used version to actually model this system around us. In this system, we have 4 systems that are interacting together. We have the total population of Adamawa State, system that has to...
You can get close to it, that's okay.
Okay, good.
Or you can use your cursor to get to it.
So we have the population.
Okay.
How does population interact with children that go to formal education? How does children going to formal education interact with children that go to non-formal education? And how does non-formal education and population and informal education interact with income system in Adamawa State? And how those numbers interact together and how they produce it. Let me actually simulate this for you and let us see, what is actually going to happen in this particular system.
I think I'm liking this.
Beautiful. So, if nothing is done concerning the number of Almajiri children in our society, if you simulate this, good. If nothing is done in the next 20 years, the total number of Almajiri will go to nothing less than 1.3 million in the next 20, in Adamawa State itself. I'm not talking about...
We're not talking about Nigeria.
I'm not talking about Nigeria.
Adamawa
State, because as of right now, we have over 320-something thousand Almajiri in Adamawa State. So if nothing is done in the next 20 years, this is what it's going to be here.
Yeah.
Then, if nothing is done, the number of non-adults, adults that are non-educated, will go to nothing less than almost 3 million. The total population of Adamawa State in the next 20 years will be around 6 million if nothing is done. And if nothing is done, the number of educated adults will actually reduce drastically.
Okay.
So it's not about us looking at Almajiri from this old perspective. It's about looking at how these systems interact together and what numbers they produce. So we, in this system, when I go back to this system, after checking it, we were able to find a leverage point and say, okay, out of this, what can we do to make sure that this number that is escalating starts to reduce? Let me go back to the model back. So we have 2 switches here. We have income switches, we have productivity, and we have participation and inter-educational adults. So we said, okay, let us give people in Adamawa State more money. You can see high impact here, medium, and all this kind of stuff. So let us give people in Adamawa State more money. If we continue to give more money, let's say people begin to make more money, will that actually help the number of Almajiri in Adamawa State? It's being simulated right now. So
yes,
if I move it, you can see the number moving, right?
Good. And all that.
Let's move the number of productivity. If people are making more money and they are productive, will that help the number of Almajiri to be reduced? Let's increase it to high impact. You can see that the total population has reduced to almost like 5 million. And the number of uneducated, has risen up, and this has actually reduced a little bit. Then the total population of Almajiri has reduced to nothing less than maybe around 1.2 million or so. There's still something needs to be done.
Something needs to be done.
Good. So if the total population of participation, people begin to participate in the economy, what will happen? You can see that income per head for each person in Adamawa State, actually, people are making money.
People are making money.
But the number of Almajiri keep increasing. So what is the leverage point? In our system, we are able to find that if the parents of these children are empowered, when I mean empowerment, I don't mean giving them money. Are empowered, they are given good jobs, they learn how to read, how to write. How to read and write doesn't actually mean English and math. Of course. How to read and write means that you are able to read and write and able to get knowledge from outside, adapt it to your own knowledge and make your life better. Empowerment. So, let's say that the total population of people that are educated, in Adamawa State keep increasing up to 450,000. 450 adults are educated every year. You can see the number of Almajiri is dropping. And that is what we want to see. let's put around 500.
It has really increased, reduced.
Yeah, it has reduced.
It has reduced.
So the idea is getting the parents involved, getting the parents empowered, getting the parents, more enlightened on how they can go about their lives and, of course, livelihood will really be the factor we're looking at here.
Yeah.
No, it's a complete system.
It is.
It's a complete system. But in terms of communication and interaction, because a system has to go, whatever goes around comes around and all of that. At what point do you stop to do an evaluation of the system to know whether or not what you're trying to achieve is really being achieved?
You see, something about system dynamics is that the most important part of system dynamics is the structure itself. That's why it's called system dynamics. The structure itself is the most important thing. The numbers itself may not be that important, but if the structure is important, if the structure works, that means the system works.
But how do they communicate? So I'm just looking at,
well,
how do they communicate with one another?
That's why I don't want to go too much deep into it so that I don't get a lot of people confused, about this. But I can actually, send this to anybody and I can actually illustrate more. But something about the system is that we can always improve on the system. It's not perfect. There's nothing in this world that is perfect. I'm sure you know about that. Sure. So in this system, if any other things happens, we can always improve on this system, always try to make this system better and all this kind of stuff. So that's the major thing. But part of our policies and our recommendation is that, number one, the belief system should not be undermined. People have their reasons for choosing Islam or something.
No, that's the critical issue I wanted driving to when I was talking about targeting the parents as the root cause of all these problems. It is something they've come to grow up in. It's been a way of life for them. Give birth to children. The children seek knowledge because that's their belief, and of course, not really minding the dangers and all the things these children have to go through in order to survive. But getting those parents now as the target, as the root cause of the increase in the number of Almajiri that we have would be a very difficult, mission to embark on.
Well, I won't say it's a difficult mission to embark on.
Changing their mindset towards what they believe over the years.
See, everybody in this life wants to be successful.
Of course.
I'm sure you're aware of that. But when you see that there's nothing you do in this life that why do we have a lot of migrants leaving Nigeria? They make 850,000 naira, maybe they gather money, then they run to Libya and go and be slaves. Why? Everybody wants to be successful. You want a better life. Nobody wants to be where you are. So if the parents have access to loans, to resources that they can use, it's not about having access to those resources, how to make judicious of those resources to have a better life for them. I think that will be number one. Then number two itself, a lot of factors of interventions that has happened in the past is about children. You are neglecting the malam. For every child you see on the street, there are 5 factors. There are 5 key stakeholders that actually make that child to be on the street. An Almajiri child will not ever be on the street because of 5 reasons. I'm sure you want me to give you those reasons, right?
Definitely.
Number one, him personally, saying that, okay, I want to go to the street, is a personal decision, so I want to go to the street to beg. That's number one. Because there are some Alamajiri that don't beg on the street, but you see them in Kaswa and in the market, doing some work.
Pushing and all that.
Him personally say, I want to go to the street to beg. That's number one. Number two, the malam themselves that know that they don't have the resources to take care of those children, and they know that at the end of the day, they'll go to the street to beg. That's number two. Number three, the parents that actually give the children to the malam without giving them enough resources, and know that at the end of the day, the children will go to the street to beg. That's number three. Then number four, it's me and you.
That give them.
We keep giving them money. So what about today when we say we don't want to give out, if we don't give Almajiri money again? Probably they will actually find a good job, or probably they'll stop going on the street, or probably the number will reduce on the street.
But do you also think maybe there could be other vices that they would want to indulge in order to survive? That's another factor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said probably there will be, something would have happened if you stopped giving them or giving them easy money, because they know that at the end of the day, if they go to the street, they will get money. That's the mindset that I've built. Then the fifth one is that if government will provide schools and everything for over 320,000 children in Adamawa State, do you know how much resources that will bring out of the government's pocket? Does that government have those kind of money to actually do that?
These are huge things and projections, and as well as permutations we're trying to, do right about now. But the most interesting thing is, what we want to, ask you, knowing fully well that you metamorphosed from a program that, was started by the AU, and I was talking about the Feed and Read program. Where's the meeting point between that particular program and this research that you're on to right now?
Good. Feed and Read is a short-term intervention to solve this problem. When you're trying to solve a particular problem, you don't look at a long time. Just say, oh, I want to solve a problem, okay, let's target that. You do short and long simultaneously. You try to help the children, we are trying to help the parents, and at the end of the day, we are solving a lot of problems in our society. So Feed and Read, from my own perspective, is a short-term intervention to help these children off the street. But the long-term intervention is by, abiding to these policies and rules and recommendations that we are trying to give to the society and tell them, this is the problem. This is what will happen in Adamawa State in the next 20 years if nothing happens. It will keep escalating. And I'm telling you, you don't want to have children that are doing nothing in the street.
Okay, let's go back to this model once again. There's something I see you illustrate in pink colors there. It's talking about income effect table 1, income effect table 2, income effect table 3. Then it's now moved on to say fertility table 1, and it talked about active participation effect, productivity. Why is the pink color, referring to all of these issues? Because I think they are the main issues that we're trying to address right now.
No, actually, the reason why I painted this is just to make it look nice. It's not.
Okay.
There's
but let's look at it.
It's helping to identify things.
Improve active participation of all involved. We're talking about productivity, which is a factor for us to also deal with.
Yeah.
We're talking about income, which is another important issue. And we're talking about fertility.
Good. Let me now go back to the chart. Sorry, just 1 minute. If you look at the fertility rate here, which I simulated here at the rate of 500, let me put it here, sorry. Okay. If you look at the fertility rate here, this is the fertility rate.
Okay.
The fertility rate actually dropped, so around 3.5%. What does this mean? Women will be able to give birth to children that they can cater for. If you empower women, if you give them resources to take care of themselves, they will not give birth to any children they can't cater of. Because what we see in this community right nowadays is that we see a lot of women just keep giving birth, just keep giving birth, just keep giving birth, and at the end of the day, they can't take care of them. So if the empowerment program happens and everything, the women that we have in the society will be able to give birth to children that they can take care of. And that's the reason why we have that fertility rate here, because fertility rate here actually influence birth rate.
Yes. And why we have fertility rate influencing birth rate, we need to also...
Fertility table here is a measure that says that empowerment of women reduce the number of children. I don't want to use the word reduce, but giving women, empowering women, they are able to give birth to children that they can actually take care of. So if that's the table that is here, so it's fertility rate, then fertility rate actually has an influence on birth rate. And the more money people make, that's the income, the more ability for them to enroll their children in schools.
On a lighter note, the men should be more involved in getting empowerment to reduce their mentality of wanting to have plenty children and all that. So if we're targeting more of children, I don't know why Isaac is laughing. If we're targeting more of women...
It's taking everybody involved. Everybody's involved.
Yeah, sure, but then I'm just saying...
also are involved.
It's just on a lighter... I understand, it's just on a lighter note, but then let's on a more serious note now, the government seems to be at the center of all this.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
Because if we're talking about empowering these people, reorientating them as regards the number of children they bear, the way of life of those children, empowering the women to also be self-reliant and all that, it still centers on what the government can afford in helping some of those people. You earlier talked about the resources the government possibly may not be able to afford in order to help reduce the number of the Almajiri children we have on the streets. But then, what ways have you been able to come up with in helping or probably preferring solution to some of these issues that the government can as well adopt?
You see, something about, this is just, let me say I'm off key from this, is that the government actually wants to produce job. But it's not the duty of the government to actually produce job. It's the duty of the government to make an enabling environment for the jobs to derive. So the government needs to find those, how can we produce jobs in Adamawa State? What are the resources? There's a lot of states, KB and all those kind of stuff, producing rice and taking it to Lagos to sell. Just produce the rice. We will buy it and take it to Lagos to sell. We'll package it. I mean, you know, all these innovations need to come in. The government itself, if I have the opportunity to, you know, to talk to them, they need to start being innovative.
Okay, that would lead us to say, have you react to what would you say is the failure in the government's Almajiri school program? Because from there we can, you know, pick up and then see what we can factor in making it
what is the
failure in the government's Almajiri school program?
Well, the reason is that they are focusing on just the children, and there's a lot of things that they are not focusing on. They're looking at it from one perspective.
Oh, so they're looking at it from one perspective.
Even the malams themselves should be given opportunities to be actually involved in making policies concerning these children. The malam themselves should be trained, should be certified, in order to be able to take care of these children. Because you will not want to give your child to someone that is not trained, and I'm sure you are trained and you are certified, that's why you're on the TV, right? Good. In as much possible should be the malam. The government should regulate these things. For you to be able to have a sangaya, you must have permissions from the government. For a malam to be able to teach a child Quranic education, he must be trained, he must be certified by the government, so that we are able to control all these things, and there should be policies that guide children. You don't abuse children. All those little policies need to come in place. But the major one I have said is that by empowering the parents, who actually, you know, shift a lot of things, but other policies also needs to be put in place too.
So, is this a continuous research project? I know you may possibly have not gotten to the end result yet. So, we still want to
trying to think about other options.
We'll still wait and, of course, wait for the long-term results of this particular project and see how the government can also adapt it to effectively reduce the number of Almajiri students.
You know, we keep continuing. We don't get to the end of it. We keep trying to make it better and better.
Continue.
Okay. But do you hope on getting the government involved anytime?
Yeah.
Possibly,
you know,
to
that's
partner with.
The first thing is that, you know, by coming to Safari, I know that probably maybe the governor of Adamawa State is looking at me right now. You know, I don't know. But, you
okay,
know,
but I really think you should extend your hands to other NGOs, possibly as well the government and other well-meaning Nigerians that would also want to see that the streets is off, you know, the Almajiri students are, of course, children, and of course helping them get a better life. So I know your doors are open for that.
Definitely.
So any well-meaning Nigerian that also want to be part of this project, you can also find a way of getting to Almajiri to see how you can help, especially the government. It is really a very good research project that you can, you know, take up and also work with in order to help the Almajiri children on the streets of Yola. Thank you so very much, Aladimeji.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm most impressed about this. So impressed.
Sorry, I have to bring a lot of things for you.
No, don't worry about
okay.
that. I'm going to, you know, study after that.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. All
right.
Thank you.
Okay, that's been Joseph Oladimeji, Coordinator Poverty Stoplights, and he, of course, spoke on the Almajiri project of the American University of Nigeria here in Adamawa State, and he spoke on how we really can help those children off the streets. While we take a quick break now, Safia continues after the break. Stay with us.